Brian Greenhoff died the most tragic death, and they lied about this. Brian Greenhoff died the most tragic death at just 60 years old, but the real tragedy wasn't how he passed away. It was how his incredible story got twisted and forgotten by those who never truly understood what made him special. For decades, people painted him as just another footballer who couldn't handle pressure, but the truth reveals a man of remarkable resilience who overcame challenges that would have broken lesser spirits. Born in Barnsley on April 28, 1953, Brian's journey to football greatness began when he joined Manchester United as a youth player in August 1968. He was one of the last Busby babes scouted by the legendary Joe Armstrong, following his impressive performances for Yorkshire schoolboys. His childhood hero, Tommy Taylor, also from Barnsley, had influenced his decision to choose United over more local clubs, setting the stage for what would become an extraordinary career. The early signs of Brian's incredible mental strength emerged when disaster struck in 1972. A broken leg threatened to end his professional dreams before they truly began, preventing him from making his senior debut as a teenager. Lesser players might have given up, but Brian demonstrated the resilience that would define his entire career. He made a swift recovery, showcasing the determination that would carry him through much greater challenges ahead. On September 8, 1973, Brian finally made his first team debut against Ipswich Town. This marked the beginning of a remarkable rise under manager Tommy Docherty. Initially playing as an industrious holding midfielder, Brian displayed immense energy, resolution, enthusiasm, precise passing skills, and acute football intelligence. His versatility quickly became apparent as he seamlessly transitioned between positions, eventually forming a strong central defensive partnership with Martin Buchan. Brian's adaptability knew no bounds. He even famously played in goal once when Alex Stepney was injured, demonstrating the team-first mentality that made him so valuable. Under Docherty's dynamic and expressive style of play, Brian flourished like never before. The manager's approach perfectly aligned with Brian's strengths as a ball-playing defender, creating a period of significant professional fulfillment. The pinnacle of Brian's Manchester United career came during the 1976-77 FA Cup victory, where he was widely regarded as the man of the match in the final. This performance capped off a golden period that also included United's triumph in the Football League Second Division in 1974-75. Brian's consistency during this era earned him recognition at the highest level. 18 caps for England between 1976 and 1980, with his debut coming against Wales on May 8, 1976. His international career blossomed alongside his club success. Brian also represented England 4 times at the under-23 level, scoring once, and made one appearance for England B. This elite recognition confirmed his status as a top-tier player, making his subsequent career challenges all the more significant. The fact that his later difficulties occurred despite his proven ability at the highest level suggests external factors rather than any decline in talent. Everything changed when Tommy Docherty was dismissed and replaced by Dave Sexton. Brian found himself unable to connect with the new manager, describing Sexton in his autobiography as boring, overly obsessed with systems, afraid to deal with players directly. This fundamental incompatibility created a profound philosophical mismatch, where Docherty had encouraged swashbuckling, entertaining attack-minded creativity. Sexton implemented a more rigid, system-focused approach. Under Sexton, Brian was displaced from his preferred central defensive role, finding himself utilised more often in midfield or at fullback. He openly expressed feeling increasingly disillusioned in a team which was less entertaining than its predecessor. For a player who valued free expression and ball-playing style, this change proved particularly detrimental to his morale and enjoyment of the game. Compounding his unease, niggling injuries contributed to his discomfort at Manchester United. These persistent physical issues, combined with the significant managerial and stylistic changes, made an Old Trafford exit inevitable. After making 271 appearances and scoring 17 goals for Manchester United, Brian was transferred to fierce rivals rivals Leeds United for £350,000 in August 1979, a record fee for a player leaving United at the time. The move to Leeds was intended as an ideal fresh start following his disillusionment at Manchester United. However, his experience at Elland Road proved mostly negative. During his time there, he made 72 appearances and scored only 1 goal. The substantial transfer fee placed significant expectations on Brian to revitalise his career, but these hopes were largely unmet. At Leeds, Brian was dogged by further fitness problems and concerns were openly expressed about his weight. This situation was compounded by manager Alan Clark's reported obsession with running and weighing players. The constant scrutiny of his physical condition created a negative feedback loop, straining his relationship with the manager and hindering his ability to perform consistently. Despite his well-documented versatility, Brian was unable to command a specific position until granted a successful sequence at right back in 1981. Paradoxically, his adaptability, which had been such an asset at Manchester United, became a hindrance at Leeds. Without clear managerial vision for utilising his multi-positional capabilities, his versatility led to positional instability rather than opportunity. Brian's relationship with Alan Clark was notably strained. His autobiography reveals strong negative sentiment, stating that nobody liked him, obsessed with running and weighing players. This breakdown in the player-manager dynamic contributed significantly to Brian's dissatisfaction and the overall decline of what he described as a drastically declining side. Following Leeds' relegation in 1982, Brian was granted a free transfer. He subsequently played briefly for Wits University in South Africa before joining 4th Division Rochdale in March 1983. This move would prove significant for deeply personal reasons, as it reunited him with his elder brother Jimmy, who served as manager while Brian took on a player coach role. The relationship between the Greenhoff brothers had always been special. Brian had consistently looked up to Jimmy, following in his footsteps through school, local, and England schoolboy teams. Their shared journey had culminated in playing together at Manchester United, most notably as central figures in United's historic FA Cup victory in 1977. Brian's childhood hero worship of Jimmy and their joint triumph at Wembley created a deep bond and rich shared history. However, the joint venture at Rochdale proved momentous for all the wrong reasons. Relations between the brothers suffered in the aftermath of Jimmy's dismissal from the club. Brian himself left Rochdale when Jimmy was sacked in March 1984. This professional setback served as a direct catalyst for the deterioration of their fraternal relationship, illustrating how sporting pressures can spill over into personal bonds. Aside from a brief period of reconciliation, the brothers hadn't spoken for over 20 years. Brian chose to address this painful topic publicly in his autobiography, Greenhoff, which was released in 2012. He articulated his motivation, stating, "There's only so long that you can avoid the question. It is the right time to put an end to the questions." While the Rochdale dismissal had sown the seed for their falling out, the final straw was reportedly a wedding invitation, or the lack thereof. After leaving professional football, Brian pursued various occupations, including publican, sweet shop proprietor, snooker centre manager, and sales representative for a sports equipment firm. He also continued coaching semi-professionally at local level and dedicated time to cricket, playing semi-professionally for Norden. Later in life, he returned to Old Trafford, working in corporate hospitality and for Manchester United's television station, testament to his enduring connection and love for the club. In 2012, just a year before his passing, Brian released his autobiography titled Greenhoff. The title was a heartfelt dedication to the chant famously given to him by the Stretford End faithful. Published by Empire Publications, the book offered an interesting perception of his career at Manchester United and provided a valuable behind-the-scenes view of a big club. Brian Greenhoff died suddenly of cancer at his home in Rochdale on May 22, 2013, at age 60. The unexpected nature of his death meant police were called to his residence. At the time of his passing, he was residing in Norden, Rochdale, with his wife Maureen and their 3 3 sons, finding enjoyment in cooking and continuing to follow Manchester United. Brian's story reveals a complex figure whose career offered compelling insight into professional football's multifaceted nature. His journey demonstrated how factors beyond raw talent and dedication, managerial philosophies, physical ailments, and personal relationships can profoundly influence a player's trajectory. His autobiography, released shortly before his death, served as a powerful final statement, allowing him to shape his legacy and provide his truth rather than accepting others' interpretations of his life and career.